the Federalist bureaucracy worked well enough. However, Andrew Jackson, when he became president, challenged this idea of a bureaucracy where the jobs were basically considered private property. Jackson came in as a populist and said that government is supposed to derive the power from the people. So these kind of offices shouldn't then be like private property. They should be the people's property. So what he did is he changed things around and established these short fixed term limits. So what he did is he said, you can't just serve in this job for your life. You can't pass it on. You can only serve for 2 years or 4 years or however long, depending on the office. And the idea was that rotation in office, making sure that people only served a short amount of time and then replacing them, so rotating them, would democratize the bureaucracy, would make it more like the public, would make it more democratic, would allow for more voices to be heard. This was a great idea in theory, but in practice, what it did is it created a spoils system, sometimes called a patronage system. And this was a result of there being little job security and really little chance of advancement based on merit. Because if you weren't doing a job for very long, how could you then show people, look, I'm doing such a great job at this, you should give me a promotion? So you just kept rotating in offices and rotating people out. When they rotated out of a job, they would be put into another one. Now, there's a lot of people in the bureaucracy, right? These are big agencies. Even at the time, there were a lot of jobs to fill. And if you, as the boss, have to keep filling the jobs because there are term limits, you're going to get tired of having to interview everyone all the time, tired of having to look for the right person to do the job. So you're going to hire your friend, or you're going to hire the person who did a favor for your political party, right? You're going to start putting people in not based on what they know, but based on who they know, because that's the only efficient way of doing things. But that can lead to dysfunction, because now people aren't getting the jobs based on merit and aren't being incentivized to be honest and good at the job, since advancement depends not on being good at the work, but on who you know. Now, there was another issue here. Because people were being rotated through jobs so quickly, you didn't build up institutional knowledge. So if you've ever started a new job, you know it takes you a while to learn about the job, what you're supposed to do in that job, how the office you're in works, who the boss is, who you ask questions to, who hangs out at lunch together, all these different things. Every time you're new somewhere, you have to learn these dynamics. Now, imagine if people are constantly new. If you're constantly switching jobs, you're never going to really learn how to do your job. So you're never going to be able to pass that on to your successor, who's not going to be able to pass it on to theirs. So it became a problem, not just in terms of maybe not always the right people getting the job, but also that it was hard for people to do the job well, even if they wanted to. And of course, without these disincentives for dishonest administration, you no longer were putting up your house in bond or anything like that, there was a lot more potential for corruption. And think about it. If you know you stand no chance at promotion, what's to stop you from, taking bribes or something? It's better that than, you're out of a job in a year anyway. So you might as well take it while you can. Now, at the end of the day, all this was starting to bother people. And over time, the system became sort of less effective and more corrupt, which was a real problem. But then a man who said he'd been promised the ambassadorship to France, but didn't get it, shot President Garfield. President Garfield ultimately succumbed to his injuries. And this was really the last straw for the patronage bureaucracy. People realized, wow, this has become dysfunctional. We better do something about it. And the patronage bureaucracy was ended and replaced with the modern civil service as we know it.